Yeah, I had to get that up just for the camera view. Welcome everybody once again to the Straub Sports Show. Big Bro Ken, along with Little Bro Drew. And before he even has a chance to introduce himself, I would like to be the last one, but the first one on air. As a network, no, not as a network, as your big brother, to wish you a very, very happy belated birthday. You turned 23 yesterday, so we'll give you one of these.
Oh my
Absolutely,
God.
absolutely. Standing ovation from my guy. So yeah, happy birthday once again. I was blessed to be the first one to wish you a happy birthday about 5 or 6 minutes before your alarm went off. Congratulations. Some of us have to go work a crappy job earlier than you get up. But happy birthday. How did you enjoy yourself? And what's up, bro?
Thank you, man. What's up? What I did for my birthday. I mean, it was a Wednesday, so you can't do too much.
Lies.
I'm getting too old to be going out on Wednesday nights.
More
2030,
lies.
it's the next 30. But no, parents took me out, mom took me out. Haven't been home for a birthday in quite a while, and so that was nice to do and kind of just relax. We got some plans this weekend, as you know, and so that'll be fun. But in terms of what's up, I'm trying to put this weekend of sadness behind me. Uh, hopefully into this upcoming weekend to have some better results. But you know, it's
Uh,
gonna be tough to talk about today.
yeah, listen, this is the 100% honesty. This is the least forward-looking show that I have ever had. I struggled to do notes this week. As you see, Lucky is upset too. It's been it was a rough Saturday. I will say that. However, just in case anybody missed it, just want to throw this up once again. Get that big star out there. Because at least on Sunday I
Did you
had a
see
good
mine, by
day.
the way?
Yes, I did. I did. But yeah, blue skies ahead. Absolutely. I like it. It's been beautiful this week too. We didn't get a weather report from you, but that's always a good thing. But yeah, we have a decent amount to talk about. Not necessarily on the news segment, but obviously we had NFL week 1, college football week 2. I mean, we could just skip that entire segment. But mom's rocking in with us. But yeah, we do have some stuff to talk about. But before we talk about all of that, I got to put the phone down. I was trying to do socials and I got to do my job. Welcome, like I said, everybody, to the Straub Sports Show here on the 216 Sports Network. Whether you're on Facebook, you can like and follow us there. Whether on YouTube, you can like and subscribe and become one of our 5 plus thousand subscribers. What do you get on the 216 Sports Network? You get a little bit of it all. You get 4th and 15 with Melon Smooth, The Jay Rich Show, Ruler's Minute with Rico McGee, Outside Interference, and the Straub Bros Sports Show. Where can you find the Straub Bros Sports Show? Man, you can find us everywhere. You can find us on X at Straub Bros Sports, on TikTok at the SBSS, Instagram at Straub Bros Sports Show, and on Spotify, Straub Bros Sports Show. Also, as always, big shout out to my guy Austin. Make sure you're following them on Instagram, just like you're following us at Create Your Own Wave 2021. Don't ride the wave, create your own. Beautiful polo. Make sure you get the merch itself. Check it out. CYOWapparel.myshopify.com. As it's getting colder, the gear is getting warmer itself. Talking about some hoodies. There's some good. I'm telling you, there's good stuff, man. Go check Austin's stuff out there. Oh, and as always, a big shout out to my guy Daniel and the Falls Rapids. They begin lift sessions this weekend. Yeah, so that's starting to get rolling. Not sure if I'm going to be in attendance yet to be able to kind of do some stuff there yet. Just don't know what my schedule's looking like, but we will be there in no time as they start to get rolling as well. I got to drop a couple of these comments in there because, yeah, rough weekend all around for the Straubs. Absolutely. And then, of course, Big Nady. Love you, big dog, too. Thanks for rocking with us. So, man, we got all that out of the way. You ready to roll?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, the first thing we have to talk about, news related wise, I think it would be just ridiculous for us to not start with it. And that's this Tyreek Hill situation.
Yeah.
If you missed it, Tyreek Hill was detained on his way to the game on Sunday, and kind of an all around scary situation.
Yeah, it's not great. You can, I guess, look at the video footage yourself. But I think the most telling thing, and this honestly might just be a reactionary thing, but the officer in question was put on administrative leave after the incident, and so everyone's kind of standing here and looking around and uh, thinking to themselves, I think a serious incident was avoided at this time. This could have been a lot worse. This could have been a lot more awful of a story. But this is unfortunately a story that we see time and time again. And the only time it really gets brought up is if it's either massively serious in terms of a death or if it's a high profile celebrity. And so you kind of have to sit back and ponder as if, what is there really else to say that hasn't been said 1,000 times in this kind of situation?
And I thank you for taking over there. I had an absolute technical difficulty at the absolute wrong time. And uh one of the things, and I'm sorry, I was reading Nick's comment at the same time. One of the things that I wanted to say was number one, yes, they should not have acted like he was special. I want to give a big shout out to Tyreek Hill, who took accountability in the situation. Oh, and definitely a big what's up to Daniel with the Rapids. We'll hopefully see you this Saturday, Daniel. If not, we'll see you in the upcoming weeks as we get rolling there. Tyreek Hill took accountability. He flat out said, I should have handled it better. I should have, rolled my window down. I should have, been a bit more compliant. However, what he then followed it up and said, I absolutely agree with, which was it doesn't give anybody excuse to treat him the way that we saw him be treated. His two other teammates were detained in the incident. It's an ugly situation, and man, it kind of feels, I mean, I don't want to rehash last week, but man, the same thing kind of feel like we have this conversation about over and over again, where we see these things and we're like, come on, man, this isn't right.
Yeah.
So, that's not the other unfortunate situation we have to talk about this week. We have to kind of talk about your quarterback situation real quick, and nothing to do with off the field. Deshaun Watson, another, I don't want to say another lawsuit, but a lawsuit was brought up by one of his accusers. The details are ugly. We're not going to go into them. I'm going to let the law and the court system take care of those things, and then we'll talk about them in due time. But football wise, if Deshaun Watson were to find himself in some trouble, the Browns have a morality clause in his contract, which could result in them being able to kind of move on from the contract. But when you, yeah, we will let the law, the court, and then Leroy Bickerstaff take care of that as well. Leroy Bickerstaff was all over Twitter taking care of this, giving you the scoop on everything that you needed to know about the Browns' first week there. But when you mix in all of this stuff off the field, plus in which the way he's playing on the field, I kind of did a poll this week. I polled all the Browns fans that I know, friends, family, coworkers, and the consensus was this: regardless of all of this, everybody's just done. They're done with him, and they're ready to move on.
And listen, you can add that one to the tally. It's one of those situations where coming in, I didn't like the situation. I thought he was going to bring in way too much drama and way too much spectacle, and in a very similar sense in how a lot of people thought Odell Beckham did when he came to Cleveland. And everything that happened, and you got through kind of that awful situation, and you initially thought, okay, that situation's handled. We still may not like him as a person or agree with everything that went on, but at least you have some sort of closure in the situation that you can move past. And all of a sudden, we're basically back to square one again with this accusation. And I don't even want to talk about his play on the field because obviously it's been subpar. Everyone who's watched Cleveland Browns games has know it's been subpar, and he also hasn't been healthy enough to really.
Plus, we're going to talk about it here in a minute.
Yeah, and so I don't really want to get into that because at the end of the day, regardless of his play on the field, it is something that needs to be, needs to be said, and this just shouldn't be acceptable in today's day and age where you have multiple accounts and multiple reports and settlements and things like that where at the end of the day it becomes a distraction to the team whether or not you want it or not. And unfortunately, it's one of those things where I I am getting very, very turned off of watching Browns games. And I watched the entirety of the 0-16 season, and it's just becoming so infuriating to watch a quarterback perform so poorly, but also at the end of the day be someone that isn't being held accountable for some of his actions. And it just that's the thing that really bothers me the most.
That's spot on. Now, if we want to do reverse it a little bit, because I don't feel like I can add on any more than you already did. Very, very well said. If we do want to talk football, the thing that we're first of all, I personally, I think the shoulder is effed. I think the shoulder is gone. Not, and it happens to people. You can only hurt something. If you can only hurt something for so long before it can't be repairable anymore. And the throws are either lame ducks out wide that wobble, or everything is short. It just doesn't look like he has a good ability to throw the ball. On top of the 2 shoulder injuries, the man took 2 years off of football. And I'm sorry, we have talked about this in the past. Take out the political and blackballing of Colin Kaepernick and just look at further down the line when people were like, he's been out of football too long. Look at coaches who have recently stepped away for too long. The game will pass you by so quickly. And it's not the same when you're just rehabbing from an injury. When you are just standing there, sitting out football, it is hard to get back up to speed. And sometimes you just don't get back up to speed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like this comment. Shoulders are what knees were in the 70s. Like, we see these guys with the shoulder injuries, Andrew Luck, you know what I mean? It wasn't just the ankle that was bothering him. His shoulder was effed, and he said, "Eff it, I'm not doing this." I don't know. I like this comment. Just bench him and deal with it. If it becomes a locker room problem, then cut him. From all reports, and as much as we've talked about Watson off the field, I have never heard anything from inside the Browns locker room where he's a bad teammate or guys don't like him. So if he's not a distraction to the point where it's affecting on the field, then yeah, I can understand being like, hey, we're just going to roll with this. But on the play or on the field, it's awful and it doesn't look good and it hasn't looked good yet. Then on top of it, you're having to constantly field these questions and deal with it. I mean, yeah, and that was a huge thing, and I read that too. Leroy Bickerstaff reported that his teammates love him. So you know what I mean. You gotta kind of roll with it and see what happens there. Should we break people in on the inside joke?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're not familiar, it has been reported, it has been researched. Well, it's been alleged, and it's been researched that Deshaun Watson has a burner account on Twitter that he is using to defend himself, criticize the coaching staff, criticize the play calling, and it's under the name Leroy Bickerstaff. So if you see us for the rest of the show and the rest of the season reference Leroy Bickerstaff, I knew Nick was coming in heavy with that. He is a Browns fan. As you see the elf, the brownie in the picture. So yeah.
So like my thing is right, and I want to kind of move on from this after this.
That's
fine. You were going to have a burner, having the last name of the ex-Cavs head coach isn't a good way to
maybe
do
that
it.
was is that how he tried to disguise it? And I was waiting for this because I was going to bring it up too. My man went to the KD School of Defense because KD has a couple. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to JB Bickerstaff for the name. Maybe that was his idea. if I disguise it with like a name like that, maybe somebody will think it's just like a Cavaliers, or you know what I mean, it's just a regular Cleveland fan or something like that.
I don't even want to. I don't want to. I just
That's
want to move
fine.
on.
That's fine. That's fine. Let's actually move on to the actual play on the field. It was NFL Week 1. Huh, Browns
Whoa,
fans?
whoa, whoa. We
Oh yeah,
have we
we
have some enlightening news before we go back to some awful sad news. Ladies and gentlemen, we may have a resurrection on our hands.
the
The
Pac-12's
Pac
back, baby.
the Pac-12 has been reported as adding 4 teams for sure and 2 potential teams thereafter. Those guaranteed teams are Boise State, San Diego State, Colorado State, and Fresno State. All the states. All the states are coming in.
All the states.
They're confirmed and are currently in talks with Stanford and Cal to come back to the Pac-12. Absolutely phenomenal news.
Listen, I don't care how many different places that sends that comment in. I don't care. Yeah, that's me. Pac-12 After Dark is back. I love it. Let's go. Let's go. We need all the little guys in the conference anyway, so they can get their own automatic bid as well. Let's give the MAC an automatic bid. I mean, we've got fucking excuse me, 47 bids to give away. Like, why can't these guys have it? I love it. I'm sorry. I did downplay this news to you, and then I obviously, got excited. Absolutely. 6-pack, Pac-12, Pac-2, don't care. They didn't, and here's the best part. They don't have to change the fields because neither Oregon State or Washington State have taken the Pac-12 logo off of their field. Shout out to them too. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love college football. Give me conferences. Give me big conferences that mean things. We are not anywhere near done, but this is the beginning of what we need to see happen, which is football move away from the rest of the sports, realign your conferences based on money, and regional kind of TV packages, whatever they want to do, and let the other schools go back and realign to where they belong so I can have Big East basketball back and ACC basketball, things like that. But this is great. I love it. Let's do it.
Okay, now we can go into some sad news again. Well, sad for us. Good for you.
Yes. It was the Week 1 NFL season. Yeah. You're gonna have to all deal with this. You're gonna have to deal with this shit talking for a minute because it's all down here after this. Yeah. And no, absolutely not. Ray's not off the hook for the wrestling reference. I just, there was no way I couldn't roll with it. Yeah. And then this too, before we jump into the NFL, and rename the conferences so they make sense. Okay. The Pac-12 has 6 teams. The Big Ten has 15. It's ridiculous. All right. Now back to Week 1. We kicked off Thursday night with a pretty decent game. Kansas City and Baltimore. I mean, the Chiefs were the Chiefs, and they look quick and they look fast on offense. The Ravens look dangerous. And if Isaiah Likely's toe was a little bit shorter, the Ravens would have tied that game.
Well, if Lamar Jackson could hit an open receiver for the first, second, and third goal, then they would tie the game. This is also why Baltimore has not gone to a Super Bowl since Lamar Jackson has been there. Not saying he's a bad quarterback, but when push comes to shove and you need a quarterback to make a play, he just doesn't have it in him right now.
Am I finding out that A-Chain is out and all my parlays are being...
He is... he's not out. Okay, he was... what was it? Game time decision, so...
Oh, great. Well,
gotta go...
Hopefully FanDuel will give me my money back. But that's a different story. We'll get to that later.
I gotta go make some change on my fantasy team.
Right. Craig, you're an awful human being for doing this in the middle of the show. But yeah, I mean, I agree with what you say about Lamar Jackson, but it's also Week 1. I will say this, man, that Kansas City offense looks scary. Like when Travis Kelce is like the slowest, most unreliable option of the game, that's some scary crap.
Yeah.
But let's keep it rolling. We also had a game in Brazil. Philadelphia 34, Green Bay 29. 3 Saquon Barkley touchdowns was pretty much the deal there. The bigger deal coming out of it was Jordan Love, who was injured in the final minute of the game. Love is expected to be out a couple weeks, but we really don't know. Some say 4. The Packers are being really hush-hush. He wasn't placed on IR, which is a good thing. In the meantime, they expect Malik Willis to take over in the interim.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Brazil, even though I heard that the stadium and the field was not great.
Nope.
And so that was not great. And that also could have happened to Jordan Love. Also, the Jordan Love situation was very weird because at least looking into, the injury, that's typically like a 2 to 4 week injury. And so the fact that he's like not out officially is a very weird thing. And so I have a feeling they are just not wanting to kind of give away the seriousness of the injury until, they officially have to rule him out. But a good game, a fun game. And yeah, Eagles with Saquon, very scary.
Man, you're not lying. Yeah, the for fantasy, yeah, Jordan Love, get back as soon as possible. But yeah, if the Packers are going to play this smart, they're going to sit him and they're going to make him wait until he's actually healthy. The problem is this injury is a weird injury in itself. And just it can, like you said, it just depends on the weeks. So that's to be a tough one. Let's move on. Pittsburgh 18. I'm way out of order from what you are, so I'm just gonna roll in my order. Okay. Pittsburgh 18, Atlanta 10. 6 Chris Bosworth field goals were the difference in Atlanta as Kirk Cousins and that Atlanta offense continue to struggle, carrying that over from last year. Buffalo 34, Arizona 28. Buffalo comes back in the second half to beat the Cardinals behind Josh Allen's 2 passing and 2 rushing touchdowns. I just want to mention this little tidbit that I've told everyone else when I'm doing it on the show. Kyler Murray, he did look pretty good in his return from injury. So damn elusive. He reminds me of the really good middle school or high school athlete who's outside playing with his dad and his uncles, and they're older and he's much smaller and quicker, so they can't catch him, because that's what it looks like watching him play football.
Absolutely. And also all of Marvin Harrison Jr. Fantasy owners are a little upset this week, especially after the comments of Kyler Murray.
I think that's Ray in the group chat.
Is it because after being asked, hey, are you going to do more to get Marvin Harrison the ball? He said, that's not my job, basically.
Yeah.
And so very, very interesting to watch down the stretch to see if they'll, I guess, get him more involved in the offense. But for right now, it looks like he's kind of just a over-the-top kind of decoy option right now, which scares a little bit.
Okay. Well, it wasn't Ray, but I mean, yeah, the problem was Kyler Murray just didn't want to tell the truth and say that he just couldn't see him. But moving on. Chicago 24, Tennessee 17. Caleb Williams gets a win in his first NFL start, but it was the Bears defense had a big fourth quarter to help get him that win. A blocked punt return for a touchdown and a pick 6 to seal it. Caleb looked okay. He's a rookie,
like a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Will Levis looks, and he's not a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought he had a lot of he was serviceable. But unfortunately, I think for some reason Tennessee is looking for a quarterback that is basically not Ryan Tannehill and can push the ball down the field more. I just don't think Will Levis is that guy, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. Like, it's not saying that he's, well, no, we can't say. We're not seeing the plays where you're like, oh wait, maybe. So yeah, I kind of agree with you there. And probably one of the more shocking upsets of the weekend: New England 16, Cincinnati 10. The Patriots controlled the game, grinded out a win behind Ramondre Stevenson's 120 yards. Jacoby Brissett kind of just did his thing and didn't lose the game. I mean, the bigger issue kind of would be that Joe Burrow and the Bengals looking rough. Zach Moss only 44 yards, Chase 62 yards, no touchdowns. Joe Burrow didn't look great. There's issues with the hand, it looks like. Not good in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, we saw this. We've seen this in all of Zach Taylor's years at Cincinnati. They always start out slow, and it's half due to them not playing basically any preseason games this year or last year, and also a lot of just contract talks and just not getting used to just changes in the offense or anything like that. And this is what's going to happen. I never understood not like I get the injury aspect or anything like that, but I never understand not playing at least one preseason game and getting yourself back right. And so this is kind of the outcome of it. They were awful last season in the beginning and turned it around. They didn't, quite get back up to speed. But they're gonna do what they did last year again. They're gonna stumble out the gate because they don't have that chemistry.
Yeah. And it's almost Mayday. It's almost time for Drake May in New England. But they're gonna make sure that he's as ready to go as possible before they make that change. Houston
Also,
29.
I don't agree with Stefanski having no players in the preseason either. I get the analytics say you don't want to risk injury and everything like that, but you have it's basically throwing away your first game because you can't you're not on the same page, and I disagree with at least putting him in for the third last game.
Yeah, listen, a lot of people. Houston 29, Indianapolis 27. Probably one of the funner games of the weekend. With two talented quarterbacks. CJ Stroud 234, 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon 159 and a touchdown. Anthony Richardson with the throw of the year so far. The 70-yard just little flick of the wrist to Alex Pierce, who had 125 yards receiving. What is he, a Cincinnati guy, or did you draft him?
Oh no, he's a Cincinnati guy, baby.
Okay, there we go.
He was catching balls to Desmond Ridder way before Anthony Richardson, baby.
No, somebody else making a bad quarterback look good there. Moving on. Miami 20, Jacksonville 17. Dolphins kicked a game-winning 52-yard field goal to complete their comeback. Tyreek Hill, 130 and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 109 and a touchdown. 338 yards passing from Tua. New Orleans, 47-10 over Carolina. Derek Carr, 3 touchdown passes. I mean, the bigger issue there is how awful Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers look. They look like they could potentially not win a game all year. Minnesota 28, the Giants 6. The sun rises, the sun sets, and Daniel Jones is not a good NFL quarterback. I love it. Sam Darnold.
I will say though, he has more pick sixes than touchdown passes since his contract extension.
Yes, he has more touchdowns for the other team than he does his own. Sam Darnold, welcome back to the NFL, as he had a big day for the Vikings and led them to a big win. The Chargers 22, the Raiders 10. Jim Harbaugh gets back in the NFL, W column. And the Chargers, while they did not look electric, they did not charger it. Okay, they controlled the ball and they controlled the game from about the first
defense.
Right. So I'm just gonna say that's scary. That's scary for everybody else, because the whole thing is Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. Well, when he can finally be unleashed and not have to worry about having to shoot out with the other team, that team's going to be scary.
It's also the Raiders.
Absolutely. Speaking of the Raiders, Gardner Minshew, a guy that I absolutely love off the field, a guy that I absolutely love, but he's just a guy. So that's a tough one there. What did Drew say? I missed it.
Something. Obviously something right.
There you go. Oh, not sure, but all good. Seattle 26. Ray will remind us. Seattle 26, Denver 20. Bo Nix didn't look terrible as a rookie in his first start. And Geno Smith did enough. Kenneth Walker III, 103 yards to give Seattle the win. Kenneth Walker III now screwing up my fantasy team by being day-to-day as he didn't practice. It's time for it.
Is it?
Your game of the week. Dallas 33, Cleveland 17. We them boys, baby. Dak, CD, and Zeke got the offense going, and damn, Micah Parsons is good. So is the rest of this Cowboys defense, who kind of just took control from the kind of outset and kind of kept it throughout the rest of the game. Your thoughts?
Yeah. One, I wish we could have played like week 16 or 17. I'm sure it would have been a much closer game. Because once the playoffs get started or it gets near, you start to the wheels start to fall off. But I will say, in your defense, Zeke looked like like 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago, Zeke, which is actually pretty impressive.
He
Dude,
leaped somebody.
that first carry I saw, he got up and I went, "Oh, he doesn't have Chubb. It's flat." Like he actually like got in shape. And so I'll give you that. And also Dak and CD look good. I will say though, and we were just absolutely dunking on Watson. I don't believe the entire, especially the first half, was on Watson the entire time. I'm taking this down because I have a point here. If you watch the entire first half, and if you watch both Dallas and the Browns, what Dallas did with Dak, I think, was the perfect thing. First down, second down, 5-yard outs, 5-yard slants, 6 to 7 yard outs, and 6 to 7 yard slants. Did absolutely what you needed to do to get your quarterback in rhythm. What did Stefanski do? He called 10 to 12-yard plays and plays that had to develop in a depleted offensive line, not a good running game because your top running back is out. And then, when it got to 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, then started throwing those 5 to 7 yard out routes. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. And I think that was the massive issue here is you had a team that got your quarterback in rhythm and then started to kind of get higher up the field of defense once we started to come up. But I feel like it was the opposite where the Browns, the first sign of, Jerome Ford only getting a 2 yards on a run, they started trying to throw it 15 yards down the field. And I don't think that was good. For one, a quarterback trying to play his first game of the season and get his rhythm. But two, just completely leaving the run game out to dry. And it just didn't make any sense.
First of all, Nick and Ray just incomplete a Kentucky Derby down the stretch horse race for comment of the week between the 6-pack and then the 6-pack quarterback. Okay. So here's one of the you're right about the 5-yard passes. The other biggest weapon and the thing that the Cowboys have is that we can throw 3rd and 5 slants and 3rd and 5 screen passes to CeeDee Lamb, who will just drag defenders. If we need 7, he'll drag them 8. If we need 8, he'll drag them 9. So that is a big weapon that not many teams have. So that's obviously a huge help from Dak. The running game was established early from literally like the first play of the game. And the exact opposite for you. You did not establish the run at all. You made no attempt. Where the hell was Jerome Ford? Or I'm sorry, not Jerome Ford. Your other running back. I'm sorry, Nick will remind me because he was screaming about it all Sunday. Yeah, thank you. You didn't establish the run. You didn't make it easy on your quarterback, who then made it harder on himself by running out of the pocket when it was clean and he didn't have to. You know what I mean? So that did not help. And I will say this, you cannot, and I screamed this all Sunday, you cannot get into obvious must-pass situations against the Cowboys defense. It's where we are elite. You have to run on us because then you'll run us over, you'll get us scrambled, then we're running all over the place, then you can throw the ball. On that drive that you did finally score a touchdown, it was set up by the fact that you had a couple decent runs on that drive, and Watson decided to actually hit his receivers. But yeah, no. But and here, go ahead.
12
what? Oh, did he freeze? That's hilarious.
I was gonna say 12 carries have that kind of game plan, and you have a running back.
Yeah,
it's just it boggles my mind how, like I said, you have 12 rushes from your leading running back, and then you have Deshaun Watson throw the ball 45 times in his first game back. That like I said,
with a shoulder that already doesn't work.
And none of them makes any sense. And none of it makes any sense when you look at the pass, the route tree that he threw to. It's 12-yard, out corners and comeback routes. And no, give me like a Jerry Jeudy or a he couldn't catch the ball. But he
caught the touchdown.
Elijah Moore. No, not Jerry Jeudy, but Elijah Moore, who couldn't catch the ball. But those, give me slants. Give me an Amari Cooper slant. He's big enough. Just throw it in his radius and it'll be fine. Like, this is what I'm talking, like quick, easy passes to kid it. So like you said, it's not a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. It's a 3rd and 3. It's a 3rd and 1 where Jerome Ford can then, you can get the running game going and get that first down. It doesn't make any sense. And I know we crapped on Watson this week. I don't believe all of it was on him. There was some bad throws and there were some bad things, but he was also not set up to succeed.
Full disclosure, I normally watch the Red Zone channel because I'm bougie. And normally the Cowboys are on at 4, so I don't watch the one. I have no reason to like invest in a full game for the 1 o'clock window. So I watched, obviously this game. I was, and it was Foreman. That was the name I was looking for. Like I said, I knew Nick would remind me. Your coach is bad. Like
we've talked about this.
He's not good. And he makes really boneheaded decisions. He wastes timeouts. I literally thought I was watching an early 2000 Jason Garrett game with the way he blew that timeout on the 4th down play where he tried to catch us off sides, which is the stupidest.
Which made no, and then went for it again on 4th and 7 instead of taking the field goal. Didn't make any sense.
I was just like, what are we doing? But yeah. And I also agree with this.
I'm not even looking at KC and Baltimore. I'm looking to maybe make the playoffs or not be last in our division this year. Like, and I know it sounds awful, but like, good Lord, with the way we played that week, I know you guys have a good defense, but it's absolutely awful to watch a team like a team that you should be on a similar level with, even probably maybe more, get just absolutely out-coached and outplayed the entire game.
100%. And I don't want to really hear Browns fans complain about the defense. Any defense in the NFL on the field that consistent for that long is gonna give up points. Period. Oh, yeah. End of story. Because here's my thing. Every time that defense was out there, I was scared. Myles Garrett scares the hell out of me. Okay. And Denzel Ward is a good corner. You've got good backs on the back end too. Like, your defense scared me every time. You know what I mean? When we moved the ball, I was extremely happy. It wasn't like, oh yeah, we should be doing this. Your offense has got to at least sustain a couple drives and give these guys a breather. Mm-hmm. So not to rub it in the wounds, this is literally just how the games roll down on ESPN. So the next one for me, Tampa Bay 37, Washington 20. Baker touchdown maker, 289 yards, 4 tutties. As they got after rookie number 2 pick, Jaden Daniels. Mike Evans, 2 touchdowns as well.
It's just salt in the wound. Just sprinkle it in there. Oh, hey, you know the quarterback you got rid of for, a supposedly better one? He just threw 4 touchdowns and led their team to a victory.
It deserved to be said. Baker has looked good since he's gone to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, because he was given a chance. That's the thing. He went to Carolina, which is an awful situation. Like, no quarterback is going to succeed in Carolina. Then he went to LA, and for the time that he played when Stafford was hurt, he wasn't bad.
In that miraculous Monday night throw.
So we all talk about how Baker is an elite and Baker isn't that. And you know what? Maybe on the team that he started off with, Baker needed to be elite for us to go to the playoffs. You pluck Baker in this offense right now, that's a playoff team.
You're humming, bro.
Because he just needs to distribute the ball, and that's what he does, man. And it bothers me so much. It's just, it's absolutely awful. I want to move on from this, even though there's more negative coming up, anyways.
No, I got you. I'm just gonna say I've always been a Baker guy. I loved him in college. Him planting the flag in Columbus Stadium was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. So I've always been a Baker guy. I was rooting for him when you guys drafted him. I wanted him to be good here. I was happy when he was winning with you guys. So yeah, we'll move on. Detroit 26, Rams 20 in overtime. Jared Goff outduels Matthew Stafford and the Rams overtime win as Jamison Williams went for 121. Cooper Kupp went for 110. And Puka Nacua was hurt and might be out for a while now as he's on the IR, and that ruined my fantasy team. Not that we need to be talking about that. And then your Monday night game, San Francisco 32, the Jets 19. Another year, another disappointing Monday night opener for the Jets. It did start good though. 7-3 early lead with a Brees Hall touchdown, which was check one of the parlay that failed. But then that was pretty much it. The scary part is that San Francisco looked pretty damn good, and they didn't even have Christian McCaffrey. The defense looks absolutely amazing. The Jets defense doesn't look great yet, but I think that'll kind of start to hum along. But Aaron Rodgers looked okay. I think the biggest thing for the Jets, because I want to talk about the 49ers to finish up, the Jets are playing this season out to just make the playoffs, be healthy, and start to gain rhythm as they get to the end of the season. That's all they care about.
Yeah, and you see that in like Rodgers' expressions when he's post-game interviews. And I mean, it's fair enough. He's not worried. He played a Super Bowl contending team week 1 after coming back from an Achilles injury, and they didn't win. It's not a big deal. Jets fans and pundits are going to say, oh, the Jets are same old Jets, but this isn't a team that like it was last year where they're floundering and every loss is just another statement in that. They're going to be fine. I don't think that they're going to tail slide like they did last season, mostly because they have Rodgers. But I honestly think that this is more telling of San Francisco is just really, really good, no matter they don't have CMC. And I think it's much less that New York is, bad.
I agree. To wrap this up, I mean, San Francisco's defense is scary. If you think my defense is scary, then then there's no way you aren't terrified of that defense. It's only going to get better as the year goes on. So as long as they can just stay half together on offense, they'll be all right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So NFL week 2 kicks off tonight. We've got Buffalo and Miami, Prime Video, Amazon Prime there. New Orleans and Dallas, Indy, Green Bay. We start a lot of divisional matchups this week, or some divisional matchups this week, I should say, because the Giants and Washington take on each other. Your Cleveland Browns take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. You better get it together, or Trevor Lawrence gonna light you up too. Although I think you'll be able to disrupt that defense or that offense enough to make it a close game. Other than that, I mean, we've got Atlanta and Philly for week 2. So we'll discuss more next week. We're not going to do too much NFL preview as much as we're going to kind of talk about what had happened.
And,
ready to give away? Go ahead.
I was going to say, and just for everyone who cares, Adam Schefter has not officially reported on the at-chain game time decision yet. So I'm going to say that it's still up for grabs. But also, he did post a thing on Instagram saying, like, kind of like a Monday night with his photos everywhere. So I feel like it looks like he wants to play and he's out there, but I think he's going to want to, but I think it'll be up to the coaches. And I think they just haven't made a decision yet. So I will keep y'all updated in case there is some news.
I went back up to find this comment.
Yeah.
So a common theme with
decision.
him. Right. A common theme there for him to jump on Instagram and kind of let everybody know that he might be playing. All right. You ready to give away some awards?
Of course.
All right. Let's start with, I wish we could play like the circus music behind it, our Straub bruh of the week. And bro, I will start.
Yes.
The Iowa Hawkeyes. What the you blew it at home against Iowa State. I'm so tired of it. I defended you. I had your back from preseason, and you let me down. And you're my Straub bro of the week.
Yep. Yeah, they just not great. And I mean, it's Iowa. I will get into it more. I have a succession of drives, and I will list them out to you. But we'll get to that when we get to the review. But yeah, no, it's typical Iowa offense. So
my other Straub bro of the week, here, I'll do it. My other Straub bro of the week are you jackasses who did not play like a champion today. You played like chumps. Go ahead, your turn.
Yeah. I had a couple that could have been, but they did end up winning. So I just have one. My Straub bro of the week, and this is good, I don't think you know this, is Eastern Kentucky University. Now, why they are the Straub bro of the week is they went on the road to face their rival Western Kentucky University, and Western Kentucky was having a whiteout, which obviously means that the entire stadium was going to wear white. And in the pettiest of moves, EKU decided they would exercise their right as the away team to wear white, which forced Western Kentucky to wear red during the game. Now, it's funny and it's petty, but it would have been okay if they did not lose 31-0 to Western Kentucky. And that is why they're my Straub Bro of the week, because they deserved every bit of that 31
That's
points.
what you get. That is what you get. Could you? I would pay to listen to the pregame talk as they're in the locker room changing uniforms. Like that had to be the angriest changeover that you could ever imagine. I hate to every end of my being when we do the could Alabama beat an NFL team? Could Georgia beat it? Man, for a half, that team might have been able to play with the Chiefs, the Ravens. It wouldn't have mattered because there's no way that team did not come out as fired up as possible. That's what you get. All right. Now let's give away some good stuff. All right. It's fun to laugh at people, but let's honor some people. It's time for your honorary Straub Bro of the Week, presented by Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Don't ride the rave. Create your own wave and become a Straub Bro of the Week. Straub, lead us off.
Yes, and I'm gonna just preface. I'm not gonna preface this, but I'm gonna let you guys know this may be a weekly Ashton Janty watch, like a Heisman watch, because this man is absolutely insane. We'll get into it later on, but Boise State running back Ashton Janty had another game. 25 carries, 192 yards, and 3 touchdowns against the Oregon defense. This man is special. This is going to be my Caitlin Clark. He is going to be mentioned probably almost every week. And so he is my Straub Bro of the week because, my Lord, this dude is going to be so fun to watch every week.
All right, I got a couple. You know that. And I'm going to do something that we have never done before, and I'm going to give a Straub Bro. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Nick. Whatever. I'm not even reading that out loud.
We should do a poll. That'd be fun.
Of what? What the yeah,
Straub
we can start
Bro of the week poll.
The viewers Straub Pro of the week. There's no way Northern Illinois wouldn't have won this week. But I'm going to my last Straub Bro of the week. I'm going to give this week, and then I'm going to repeat it next week because it's so important. It deserves it twice. But to start, it's a kicker. Dallas Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey. Okay, for just being great. Okay. He's a lifelong Cowboys fan. He played soccer at Notre Dame. He worked out to become a kicker and got signed by the Cowboys and is now the best kicker in the league behind Justin Tucker. Damn it, this was almost me. This was almost my life. Okay? I'm a lifelong Cowboys fan. I played soccer at Notre Dame. Not that one. And then I thought about becoming a kicker, but I decided against it. Worst decision of my life. But
didn't he I guess we're not going to mention the fact that he missed 4 field goals in a row at Thanksgiving last year.
Yeah, no. We're going to talk about the 66-yarder that he made, regardless of the timeout, that he made clean.
You should have taken that 71-yarder. I wanted him to take that so badly.
And he's my Straub Bro of the week because I was absolutely pissed that Mike McCarthy would not let him try the 71-yarder because I thought he would have banged it through. The only reason you don't do it is because there's only linemen, and if you had DBs back there, so if somebody catches it, it's going to the house. So what did we do? We let Dak throw a pass that almost got intercepted and taken back to the house. Kick the 71-yarder, damn it. That dude is amazing, and he is my Straub Bro of the week. My other Straub Bro of the week, Rain Dakota Prescott, for becoming a gazillionaire again, becoming the highest paid quarterback in the league. Well deserved, sir. You are a monster.
Until the playoffs.
At least playoffs, week 1. Okay, we'll just leave it there. And lastly, I'm going to repeat it next week because next week is the actual game that they will be doing this. But obviously, as everybody knows, yesterday was September 11th. Obviously, we gave you your happy birthday shout out to the beginning, but I wanted to mention that next week, Boston College will be doing their annual Red Bandana game. If you don't know what that is, the Red Bandana game is to honor lacrosse player Wells Crowther, who from the age of 7 wore a red bandana. He would wear it at Boston College where he was a lacrosse player. On 9/11, he was in the towers, saved multiple people. I think it was 19 people. The reason that they knew he had saved them was because he had taken his red bandana, put it over top of his face, and people recognized that the man in the red bandana was the person that saved them. Tragically, he passed away that day. And starting, it's been a couple years now. Boston College plays a game every year. They call it the red bandana game, where every part of their accent on their uniform, helmet, pants, gloves, mouth guards, everything is the color of the red bandana. They will be doing that game next week in prime time against Michigan State. Please, please, I don't even care if you don't like football. Take a couple minutes, turn it on, watch the pregame, watch when they talk about it. It's honoring an absolute hero and a legend, and I absolutely couldn't let yesterday go by without having some kind of remembrance in our honorary Straub Bro of the Week.
Absolutely. Love that. Love that.
Yep. And get used to it, because I am going to just do it again next week with some different details, clean up some other stuff. But this one will be brought back. Hopefully Boston College can then get a win in that game, because then they're going right into Straub Bro of the Week next week. All right. So let's talk some baseball. It's time to guard that land, baby. We came back down to earth a little bit with the Dodger series. But that's kind of chalk for me. But then, baby, we got that sweet White Sox cooking, okay? And we
finally beat the White Sox.
Absolutely. And we ate all of that up. And the other thing that I just have to mention before we talk about anything else, holy crap, Lane Thomas is on fire.
Finally.
All right. Let's get it in there. There's your averages, there's your OBP, and there's your slugging percentage for the week. Obviously, as you see, Lane Thomas on fire, Tyler Freeman, Will Brennan. This team is taking care of business. Straub, what's the update on our magic number?
I have it right here. I'm pretty sure it is 12.
Okay. So we're getting in there. We're dwindling down. It's getting to the nitty-gritty down here at the end of the season. I'm going to skip right past the run percentage, although we did have some changes. We had some moving around. Guardian stayed in 9th place, kind of flip-flopping up towards the top. But this is the important part, man. These races are getting tight. We're 4 up on Kansas City. We have 4 left with Minnesota.
We have the best record in baseball again?
Yes, we do, baby.
Or at least AL.
Yeah, in the American League. Yes, we do, baby. Here we go.
Yeah, listen. Baltimore and New York are just going to slug it out. Houston, again, looks dangerous. We faced them the last series of the year. And look, yeah, Baltimore, Kansas City, Minnesota, Detroit. Detroit, not all out of it, but, you do only got like 18 games left, so you're going to have to pick it up. KC just finished a series against the Yankees, and so that helped them up a little bit. But, yeah, it's looking fun, man. It is looking real fun. I'm excited for these playoffs. I know just for us, but also I think in general, I think you have a lot of contenders coming out of the AL. You have New York, you have Baltimore, you have us, you have Houston. And honestly, the Royals are kind of a sleeper pick in terms of I think that they can get real hot and they'll be very hard to beat if they can get hot in the playoffs.
I really don't want to play any of our own divisional teams in the playoffs, but that's another story. Heating up on that side. I'm so excited to click this box. Yep. National League standings. The only thing I care about, that wild card. They're here. Officially in the last wild card spot, the New York Mets. Lindor hit a walk-off the other night to give them the win and broke up a no-hitter. Yeah.
It's all good there. The Dodgers still dodgering, the Phillies still Phillying, the Brewers still brewing. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the wild cards, at least in the NL this year. I don't think the Diamondbacks have what they had last season. I don't think the Padres have it. I just never trust the Mets, and so I can't even begin to give them any type of, credit. I think this is definitely a 3-team race. I think Milwaukee's going to surprise a lot of people coming into the playoffs. But I like the Phillies. I think that they're consistent. They had kind of a downturn, but I think they picked it back up, so I think they'll be okay. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. They're going to either beat you by 12 or lose by 4. And so I think in the NL, at least, I think it's a much smaller race. But that's just my opinion on that.
I agree. Well, I know I agree on that last part. Here's what I don't agree with you on. I think, and I'll make this prediction now, I think there's a bigger chance that the National League wildcard teams will make a deeper run than the American League.
Ooh.
Yeah. Baseball's
I
weird,
can see
man.
your point.
Baseball's weird. And that's the only reason why of any of the sports. Baseball is weird. So that'll do it for your baseball. Quick baseball segment. We got plenty more important baseball coming up soon. So, all right. I got all my licks out. It's time to take some. Week 2 of your college season was happening this weekend, and you hear the despair in my voice. This one sucks, flat up, straight out, as honest as I can be.
Yeah, and honestly, these games kind of went by sections. Like obviously your top 25 matchups, which turned into blowouts. You had some blown leads in your like in terms of Bowling Green, Arkansas, we'll get into it, and Tulane. And then you had your upsets, your Syracuse's, your Iowa State's, your Northern Illinois, and your Illinois. And so a lot of similarities this week, I would say.
Absolutely. We'll run through this rapidly. Georgia 48-3 over Tennessee Tech. Carson Beck 5 touchdown passes. Ohio State 56-0 over Western Michigan. That running game I told you about. Judkins, Henderson 2 touchdowns apiece, 683 yards of total offense. Texas 31, Michigan 12. Quinn Ewers 3 touchdowns. Texas rolling, and we kind of find out how real Michigan is this year.
No, absolutely. This is kind of what we talked about. This matchup kind of went exactly like we thought. Texas outgained Michigan 389 to 284 and forced Michigan into 2 interceptions and a fumble. And Michigan never looked threatening the entire game. And like you said, we know what this Michigan team is now. It is a decent defense that against a top 5 opponent really can't hang if they're on the field that long, and an offense that really just kind of squeaks by. And it's what we thought this Michigan team was going to be a year or 2 ago. Then they picked it up because of their running back and quarterback play with Corum and McCarthy. Jesus, could not remember get that name out of there. But now that they have both those guys gone, it's kind of back to pedestrian.
Absolutely. And I'll be honest, it doesn't look good. Alabama 42, USF 16. Don't let that score fool you. This was a close game. It was 14-13 Alabama, then 21-16 Alabama before they rattled off 3 unanswered fourth quarter touchdowns to put USF away. Notre Dame 14, Northern Illinois 16. Moving on. Ole Miss.
No, you're not moving on.
Go ahead.
Oh, you okay. I was going to let you talk about it, but...
Here, I'm just going to quote, I love you, Joshua, my cousin. I'm just going to quote him. I'm going to quote him from last week after we had beaten Texas A&M. Quote, well, we won the one we weren't supposed to. Let's see when we shit the bed for the one where we always do. And yeah, we did it the next week. We couldn't play defense, and the defense was supposed to be great, and it was not great. Riley Leonard, I learned a lot about you, and what I learned is that you not being able to throw the ball in the Texas A&M game was not a fluke, because you said you were going to try to light it up versus Northern Illinois, and you did none of that. So yeah, extremely disappointing. You'll see where we sit in the rankings this week. So, I mean, there's still some hope alive. We do play 2 ranked teams on our schedule still to come. So there's possibilities to move up, but yeah, a shitty Saturday for me. I'm not even going to lie. And here to rub the salt in the wound, me and my son, who is in kindergarten, we have a thing where we high five, we give knucks, we explode, we give a kiss, and we say, go Irish. And, he doesn't realize that when Notre Dame loses, Dad really does not want to hear that. But he did it all night and into Sunday, and I just kind of had to eat it. And, as I'm throwing my jerseys off and into the bedroom, he's still running around in his. So, yeah, it was a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? When you come back down, it's a humbling experience, but it's the reason you're a fan. It's the highs and the lows.
Yes. I will say the hardest part is normally this would be 100% the end of my season. I'm not ready to get used to this fact that it's not exactly over yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, watch your foot. We have a special visitor on the show today. I was just talking about you. Yes, say hi. Say hi, Landon. Hi, everybody. Yes. How was school today? Good. Yeah. Yep. Here, we'll show everybody what we do. What do we do? High five. Poof. Kiss. Mwah. Go Irish.
Go Irish.
Yep. Okay. I love you.
Love you.
Okay. Go back. Let Daddy finish the show. I'm live.
Are you almost done?
Yep. All right. So yeah, that's how I want to end my part of the Notre Dame segment. Moving on. Ole Miss 52, Middle Tennessee 3. Jackson Dart set an SEC record, completing his first 24 passes as they rolled. Oregon 37, Boise State 34. Thank you for the love for Landon, because I know that ain't for us. We had to put the cuteness on the show. A late kick return touchdown and a game-winning field goal for Oregon to escape the Broncos. Is Oregon looking shaky, or are they just waiting to get rolling when it counts?
So I think it could be a little bit of both. I think this Oregon team still hasn't really settled in. Jordan James, 102 yards on 17 carries. It's good, but there wasn't the explosiveness that you saw last year. Dylan Gabriel really came down from last week. I know it was a close game against Idaho, but he still looked great. This week, it was only 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. So not like incredibly explosive. But also, Boise State's a good team. They're a real strong team out of the Mountain West. Like we said, Ashton Johnty is a Heisman candidate, in my opinion. And they also didn't turn the ball over. They played a clean game. They played really well, and they took Oregon to the break. And so while Oregon, I think, has some things to figure out, I don't think this is like DEFCON 1 for them.
No, of all of my preseason predictions, which are all kind of looking really good right now, I told you if Riley Leonard plays good in all 12 games, we're good. When he doesn't, we're losing, and boom, there you go. Oregon is the closest to making me look like a fool there, because I said they were going to roll and they were even going to beat Ohio State, but they were not going to win the national championship, but they were going to be good, and they're winning. But man, we have to give credit to this Boise State team, because they're the favorites in the Mountain West. So this is not surprising. This is who Boise State is supposed to be. So we talked about them potentially getting a spot. So we'll move on. Penn State 34, Bowling Green 27. Drew Allar threw for 2, ran for 1, as they had to come back and then hang on to beat Bowling Green. A big shout out to Bowling Green quarterback Connor Bazelak for going for 254 yards and 2 touchdowns, but the 2 interceptions would be the ones that doomed them in the end. You were right.
I'm technically not right yet because they haven't lost. But I'm going to say I told you so anyways, because barely beating Bowling Green is enough. Penn State, I'm going to say it right here, is not going to contend in the Big Ten this year. There is no chance with this talent with each team they are going to. 4 minutes less of possession. They were losing at halftime, and it was this close to an upset. Listen, Penn State plays Kent State next week, which has only averaged 253 yards of offense so far. So to be even worth talking about later on in the season, they need to blow them out, and Drew Allar needs to have a crazy game, because so far, I'm sorry, I told you guys so. This Penn State team is just so predictable. It's awful.
Listen. There's not. I cannot refute that, because everything you're saying is absolutely true. I do want to give Bowling Green credit, though. I've had love for this team for 2 years now. When they upset Georgia Tech last year, more on that later. And And they didn't just, it wasn't fluke plays. It wasn't screen. It wasn't wide receiver passes and flea flickers and punt returns and interception returns. It wasn't the crazy plays. They marched the ball up and down the field on that Penn State defense and they scored. So yeah, I agree.
At Penn State too, which is wild.
Absolutely. We'll keep it rolling. Missouri 38, Buffalo 0. My only takeaway from this, Missouri Tigers 0 points given up so far this year. That's impressive. I don't care who you schedule. Utah 23, Baylor 12. Just when it looked good, Cam Rising was throwing for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns. He injures his throwing hand, and now Utah is again in jeopardy with their season, depending on his health. No word yet. It was reported that it's not serious. However, he didn't finish the game, so we'll see what goes on there. Miami 56, Florida A&M 9, Cam Ward 3 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing. USC 48-0 over Utah State. Miller Moss had another good game. Tennessee, our ranked game of the week. Tennessee 51, NC State 10. I told you last week, which depending on which NC State team would show up would absolutely predict this outcome, and I was spot on. The NC State for 3/4 of the first game showed up, and the Vols rolled them. Nico Lamavela, 211 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 65 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. Tennessee will be a player coming later on in the season. Oklahoma 16, Houston 12, 2 touchdowns and a safety were needed to get it done for the Sooners. I cannot remember the last time I've seen an Oklahoma offense look this bad, even at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and honestly, it was 249 total. I'm going to chalk it up to a rivalry game. Houston was ready for this one. And Houston was so close to upsetting this team. Let me show you these drives here. 63-yard drive ended in a 43-yard field goal. 55-yard drive ended in a 44-yard field goal. A touchdown and then a failed 2-point conversion. These are drives that if they end in touchdowns or if the 2-point conversion is succeeded, this is upset alert for Oklahoma because Houston, while not playing the best offense, had the recipe in hand for an upset. You stifled their offense. You played great defense, and you just had to get one over the line in the end zone, and they were this close. So props to them for playing a tough game. And Oklahoma, I'm not worried because, like I said, rivalry game, pumped up, but it's something to monitor, I think.
Absolutely. Moving on, Oklahoma State 39, Arkansas 31 in double overtime. I told you Oklahoma State would be on the watch out. Arkansas jumped out to a lead, but the Cowboys would then come back. But then Arkansas themselves would kick a field goal to tie the game as time expired. Overtime was bad. I'm just going to be honest about that. Arkansas missed a kick in double overtime, and that was all she wrote for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, listen, I just want to say my prediction is saved for now. Oklahoma State is still favoriting to win the Big 12, in my opinion. But yeah, no, this one was crazy. Arkansas finished with 648 yards of offense compared to 385 from Oklahoma State. But Oklahoma State figured out, not to just run the ball with Ollie Gordon the entire time and actually throw the football. And lo and behold, that actually worked. And I think this is actually going to help Oklahoma State because, like I said, now if the Ollie Gordon system isn't working, if they're stifling him, you have other options now. And I think this will be help, especially because now you've won it. So,
well, Nelly, absolutely. Rapid fire here through a couple of these. Kansas State 35, Tulane 27. Tulane, making some run there. LSU 40. Yeah, LSU 44, Nichols 21. Kansas 17, Illinois 23. Fourth quarter points and a 43-yard field goal with 58 seconds left give the Fighting Illini the upset over Kansas. Arizona 22, Northern Arizona 10. Noah Fafita, Quail Conley helped the Wildcats rally from a halftime deficit and respond and take care of business. Notre Dame take notes. Iowa 19, Iowa State 20. I'm done with Iowa. Don't even want to talk about them. Shout out to Iowa State. LSU. Louisville.
I did mention this early on. After a touchdown that put Iowa State up 19-7, the drives for the rest of the game went punt, 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 interception. And that is how I will finish the game.
And that's why Caitlin Clark outscores your whole entire football team, whatever. Louisville 49, Jacksonville State 14, Georgia Tech 28, Syracuse 31. Called it. Told you to book it, told you to put the mortgage on it. Kyle McCord, 4 touchdown passes as they held off a late Tech run to complete the upset.
Yeah, listen, disregarding the late scoring from Georgia Tech, Syracuse pretty much dominated this game. 515 yards. Kyle McCord, like you said, 4 touchdowns, 381 yards passing. And listen, I know this Georgia Tech team cracked the top 25 off some wins from teams that maybe weren't as good as we thought they were, but they're still a good team. And that Syracuse team, I think, is a team we are going to have to monitor coming into this, because very similar to how Arizona kind of came out of nowhere last season, I think Syracuse is this season's Arizona, where it's a brand new offense. It is a decent enough defense, and they're going to pull off some upsets that I think people aren't going to expect from them if they're not watching them closely enough.
Kyle McCord, not asked to do too much, just asked to make the right plays. He's making some great throws. Man, it's good to see what a quarterback with some talent can do without the pressure and expectations of you've got to win every game 58-0.
Yeah, and this is, I think, the first time that it's making me want to watch Syracuse since probably Carmelo Anthony. So props to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And our last one, Clemson 66, App State 20. Clemson, welcome back to good play. Tigers handled the game and handled that spread for me.
Yeah, I mean, they were on upset alert early, so they before the game and during the game, but yeah, they pulled away. So props to them.
Absolutely. So that'll do it for week 2. Let's take a look into week 3. One of our biggest games of the weekend is tomorrow. As we have number 20 Arizona at number 14 Kansas State. We do have a lot of idle teams this week too in the top 25, as you see. But K-State with a big win over UT Martin and then a struggle against Tulane. Arizona then beat up New Mexico and kind of took care of Northern Arizona. So tell me why Noah Fafita, Troy McMillan, and these Wildcats won't just light up these Wildcats. Too many Wildcats.
I think it'll be close. I don't think one team's going to run away with it, but I think this is definitely a are you for real type of game, because Arizona, like you said, not struggled, but took care of Northern Arizona, and Fafita kind of had an iffy game, 173 yards, touchdown, interception, kind of okay. And then in terms of Kansas State, Avery Johnson definitely has a lower ceiling, but is more consistent, kind of getting upper 100 yards, almost 200 yards, but they lean on their run game and defense a little bit more. So this is now kind of okay. Who is legit in this matchup? I like both, but give me Arizona in this. I think that Arizona offense is a much higher ceiling. I like the K-State defense, but I don't think that their offense will do enough to really stop or put up enough points to compare to what they'll be able to kind of stop in that Arizona offense. They won't stop them enough, but they'll slow them down enough. But I don't think that K-State offense is going to be able to keep up.
My issue with Kansas State is if you're giving up 27 to Tulane, not that no disrespect to Tulane, but if you're giving up 27 to Tulane, you're giving up 40 plus to Arizona. With the way. Go ahead.
I would say, with all due respect, Tulane has a very high-powered offense, and so very, very. I would say I get your point. I agree that Arizona would put up more if that K-State defense plays the same. But I think that, honestly, I think this game is a very similar scoreline, maybe like a touchdown or two more.
I like it. I like your prediction. I have more in mind coming up here in a couple minutes. Our other big-ish game, number 4 Alabama at Wisconsin. I'm only mentioning this game because of Alabama struggling for 3.5 quarters with UCF. Because if not, I would have just chalked this and you even wanting to talk about this game. But for Wisconsin, this is your CFP championship game right here. Show me something, because you beat Western Michigan 28-14 and you beat South Dakota 27-13. It doesn't exactly give me a lot of confidence that you're going to be able to hang with Alabama, but give me what you got.
Yeah, the Wisconsin looks tragic on offense. very bad to watch, and I think Alabama's just going to keep rolling.
Now, this one I am excited for. Number 16 LSU at South Carolina. Man, why am I excited for this one, bro? One, because I've been higher on the South Carolina team than most. The last week's upset that I called proves that. Two, Brian Kelly blew a game, and while sometimes his team will respond big like they did, there are many times that they will just stumble again the following week. And after last week's result for my own team, I'm rooting against them.
Yeah, I just really don't know where the offense, I guess, is coming from South Carolina. We'll see. They put 31 up on Kentucky, and Kentucky only scored 6, but I don't think the Kentucky team is kind of what they were. And then they only beat Old Dominion 23-19. And so I got LSU bouncing back on this. I just don't think South Carolina has enough in the tank.
This game is in Columbia. Ranked South Carolina coming next week. I don't think Nussmeier is good enough, and I think Lenoris Sellers will outplay him at home. Brian Kelly is weak on the road in those environments, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. That's not just me just hating. Our big dog matchup of the week. Number 24, Boston College travels to number 6, Missouri. I love this. We've got undefeateds. Ranked undefeateds on an early test, but they've played some games, and a test for both teams. BC, here's another good team. They were better than They were better than Florida State. This is a chance to put yourself on the map. We don't believe in that Florida State win because we think Florida State's not good. Show us how you handle a top team from the SEC. For Missouri, you haven't given up any points, but you haven't played anybody yet. You're about to gear up for this SEC gauntlet. Here is a test, an early test to see what you're going to do.
I know they're both ranked, and I would say Boston College deserves more credit than this, but this smells like a trap game. Mm-hmm. Oh my, Missouri flying high, haven't given up a single point. The second that Bill O'Brien offense marches down the field and puts up 7, we're going to be like, okay, Missouri, what do you got for us? And this is what you're going to have to watch, because any Bill O'Brien team is going to put up a fight to the end, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see if Boston College can pull off that upset. I like Missouri still, but Missouri better not come out thinking that they're going to, shut out Boston College, because they're going to come to play.
Absolutely. Bill O'Brien there. Quarterback Thomas Castellano in the BC triple threat running game. Trason Ward, Key Roblox, and here, the best name for a running back you could ever name, Turbo Richard. All right?
That's
best running back name ever. Look out for that. I do want to point this out. Brady Cook, 228 passing yards in both games. 0 touchdowns, 1 interception week 1. 1 touchdown, no interceptions week 2. So he's not really had to do anything, but he hasn't really gone overboard trying either. I wonder if this is a breakout game, or if we're going to look back and go, oh, maybe there was a sign there that the quarterback play wasn't as good. I like this BC team. I'm high on this BC team. I was the minute they hired Bill O'Brien. I expect Missouri to answer the call, because I don't think Boston College has enough college football playoff level talent yet. The Tigers do act like it.
Yeah, I agree.
And our last one, number 1 Georgia at Kentucky. This is all you. Give me Georgia to roll from the second quarter on.
Oh, yeah, listen, I know Kentucky in previous years has been good, but this year they're not looking good. Georgia is going to absolutely roll. If they start off slow, who cares? They can score 40 and a half. So I'm not worried about it. Another game also that I kind of want to look at a little bit is Oregon State. In-state rivalry. Oregon has been looking shaky, but I really don't think Oregon's offense is going to impress me at all. I think Oregon wins, but I think Oregon might give them a scare considering that at home. But I still have Oregon prevailing on that.
And the other thing, because they've been putting up points, watch that Tulane game with Oklahoma too.
Yeah, that's going to be real good.
Tulane can score. Oklahoma can't. So we will see what happens there for that Georgia-Kentucky game. Book the points, book the overs, book all of the above. Speaking of some overs and some other things, let's take a look at Big Bro's Big Bets. Let's take a look first at last week. Now, the parlays were trashed. Cincinnati, thanks a lot. Iowa, thanks a lot. Oregon, thanks a lot. Our NFL parlay got blown because the Bengals didn't show up to play. Neither did the Falcons, and nowhere near did the Panthers. I took a shot on a week 1 upset there, and I blew that one. However, we had some really, really good upsets. I told you about that BYU team. I told you about Syracuse, and I told you about South Carolina. Those 3 specifically, I pointed out as ones that I really liked, especially South Carolina and Syracuse. So I want all of the love there. We put Colorado in most weeks. Who they did not take care of business at all. I guess it's worth mentioning that. UMass, no thank you. Arkansas, very close. Duke, no thank you either.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I will say, to recap, my Saturday also wasn't fun as my Bearcats blew a 19-point lead to Pitt, and it just rounded out a completely awful weekend in terms of football. I only got one sentence to say in terms of our upcoming game against University of Miami of Ohio. If we don't win, I don't want Satterfield back next season. I'm not saying I want him gone now, but a 19-point blown lead shows a lack of discipline, and a loss to Miami for a second year in a row would be a lack of, again, I would say discipline in playing to weaker opponents just the same. And so that is kind of my thing there, where this is a game where a win doesn't mean too much, but a loss means everything. And I think that's where we're at right now.
Very well said. I got some stuff for this week. We're going to switch it up a little bit this week. Boom. Now, we're going to have a spread party. Let's have a spread party in college. I like this. Put it together. Just trust me here. Give me Arizona plus 7.5. I'm higher on Arizona than everybody else. I don't like this K-State team. Give me Alabama minus 16.5. I don't like Wisconsin. Give me Michigan to turn it around and have a good game. I can't even remember who they're playing. It's nobody good. But give me that 22.5. Give me Notre Dame.
Arkansas State.
Yeah, Arkansas State. Thank you. Give me Notre Dame to bounce back at Purdue. I know. But I think we'll take care of it. And give me Ole Miss minus 22.5. All these teams take care of business. Look at that. Bring the big money home. You don't got to go to work on Monday. The one I'm really, really excited about is the one in the top right corner, though. My anytime touchdown bet. Touchdowns anytime. Give me Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Brian Robinson Jr., Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams. Smack them all together. I love it. Your NFL run-in, I mean, why not? We go for broke here on the Straub Bro Sports Show. I could give you
I
a
appreciate you not
three-team
putting me on there.
Oh, of course not. But I got Jacksonville up there. Let's go. I'm not here for a 3-team parlay. Let's go. 10 teams, baby. Miami, Dallas, Jacksonville, San Francisco, the Chargers, Baltimore, the Jets, Kansas City, Houston, Philly. Run it. And then your upsets. Now, I just wanted to list a couple of these. I don't believe in all of them. I do really like that Arizona. I mean, I think they'll win the game, so that's easy money there. If you, for some reason, believe in Wisconsin, it's right there for you. South Carolina over LSU. I already mentioned it. They've done it before. Plus 210. Boston College, if you like them, we talked about them. If you think they can go in and take care of Missouri, there's some money there. Tulane over Oklahoma, we talked about it. If you don't believe in my Irish and you think we're going to completely collapse, there's your Purdue numbers. We talked Oregon State. There's your Oregon State money line plus 520. Utah State plus 980. I do believe that's over Utah, depending on what Cam Rising does. And if you believe in the big one, if you think Kentucky has someone have any of a chance over Georgia, there's your plus 1,400. I do not recommend putting any of those together. Bet on those at your own risk.
I will say, though, what's crazy to me is that Arizona has a higher at plus 205 than Miami, Ohio does against Cincinnati, because Miami, Ohio has a plus 150. If you want to make some money, I would sprinkle that one in, because I have no faith. I mean, my offense is great. My defense can't tackle a child. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Straub, we've got important news to talk about. So let's get rolling into the footy.
Yes.
The EPL is back this week.
Yes, it is. Just a little thing on the standings. That's your previous results after the international break. Nothing really has changed. And then so we go into your preview. I think honestly, there's not a lot of great games this weekend. The Arsenal Tottenham game is going to be really good. But other than that, there's not a lot of like super outstanding games. I would watch the Ipswich and Brighton game. I think it's going to be a lot of goals. And so that's the one that I would probably look for. Other than that, I think you're kind of going to watch a lot of chalk this week.
Yeah, I'll have a nice parlay cooked up come tomorrow night. I do want to point out Brentford is the last team to beat Manchester City at home. They take on Manchester City this week. We'll see. And down there, lowly reaching closer to the red zone than I am the blue zone. I better get it together against Southampton this week.
And I need to get together against Bournemouth as well. So I feel you.
Absolutely. So little less preview. We will talk about that majorly next week as we have some results. To keep it rolling. All over this. We did have some, excuse me, MLS still rolling on. Inter Miami and FC Cincinnati still remain at the top with the Columbus Crew followed closely in behind FC Cincinnati. Inter Miami kind of taking it away. As you see at the very bottom of the standings, Nashville, Chicago, and Montreal. Eastern Conference thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think Crew has a game in hand, and so they still technically can jump us if they can. I think, honestly, this is a 3-team race for your Eastern Conference MLS Cup representative. I think Inter Miami is beatable, but I think definitely is your leader. And then I think Cincinnati and Crew are your 2A and 2B, and then it's the rest. I think those are your top 3 there. I think everyone else is good, but I think these teams just either have great coaching in terms of Columbus, great players in terms of Inter Miami, or kind of a mix of both in terms of FC Cincinnati. Not really great at one or the other, but good in both. And so I think that is kind of what you're looking for in terms of that. Everyone else, I think, just isn't at that level yet.
I agree. Switching sides, my Galaxy reigning atop of the Western Conference, as I predicted in our preseason preview. LAFC followed closely behind, as well as Real Salt Lake. And then at the very bottom, San Jose, St. Louis City, which is disappointing, and Sporting Kansas City. Give me your thoughts on the Western Conference and my on fire LA Galaxy, even though we lost.
I will say you are doing really well, way above expectations this year. But I honestly think this West is wide open because if you kind of look at previous results, there isn't an Inter Miami who's running roughshod. There isn't an FC Cincinnati or a Columbus Crew that maybe if they lose or draw, they're still playing well. I think every team, at least up until Seattle, maybe Vancouver or Houston, maybe even Portland, is playing games and playing well against each other, but also have games where they just take games off and they're not playing well. So I think this West is a lot more wide open than the East. But I still do think that at the end of the day, I think both LA teams and Real Salt Lake are your kind of upper echelon tier 1 and the rest. But honestly, I think that those tier 2s and 3s have many opportunities to beat your tier 1 teams when it comes to playoff time.
I'm just excited I just want to be healthy for the playoffs because I think specifically my team is built for the playoffs. So
I agree.
Stay healthy, stay in that top 3 for me, and then just be healthy. So, and that will do it for the MLS. Oh, I mean, that is what's coming up. I don't think we really
Hell is real.
Hell. Oh yeah. We do need to point that out. Hell is real is this week. Columbus Crew at FC Cincinnati, and oh damn it, the Battle of I-90. I apologize. Yeah, I messed up my own rivalry there. The Battle of I-90 is this week too, as the LA Galaxy take on LAFC. I will be watching that. I have been slacking on my MLS coverage and my MLS watching over the past couple of weeks. I'm not going to lie. Thus why Straub is taking over the segment. But yes, I will be back in. We've got a long ways to go. The MLS system is just so screwed up with the playoffs that it's kind of like basketball season at this point. We're all kind of locking in here in spots. Get me to the playoffs.
Absolutely. I think both those games, yours and mine, are going to be really good. Columbus is looking they're more scary than we played them the first time. And so that's going to be interesting. And so is LAFC for you. So very tough games.
One of the first times I can say when we get together for a weekend that we're going to have some must see MLS on. And
Absolutely.
that normally doesn't happen. Okay. So we've got major news to talk about, but we're going to save it for the last segment of the show. But before we get that going, it is time for everybody's favorite segment in the whole entire world. It is time for Americans Abroad. And I got you. Oop, wrong one. And I got you queued up. My man, take over.
It is a very sad national anthem about this time as the U.S. national lost to Canada 2-1, and I didn't put it there, but drew to New Zealand 1-1. Just a very disjointed performance for the Americans in both games.
Cut the music for that.
Really, I appreciate that. Really didn't look motivated in either game. However, we're skipping all that. Those friendlies do not matter. They didn't count for anything.
I do want to say this. I don't care about the Canada game. There was a lot of people who asked me and thought that I would. I don't care. I don't care about the Canada game. And the New Zealand goal was a fluke goal off a deflection that our keeper couldn't do anything about. And it was just a bad fluke play that they do happen sometimes. The reason I didn't care about these games is because there's so much flux going on in the U.S. camp system right now, because throughout this entire process, we didn't have a coach. Cue the music.
I will say, for the New Zealand game, Christian Pulisic also did jump up to 5th all-time in U.S. men's national team goals. Cool. Anyways, we now, as reporting of 2 days ago, have a men's national team coach, and that is Argentinian coach Mauricio Pochettino. As you can see here, he has coached former players as Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, Neymar, Harry Kane, and also U.S. players such as DeAndre Yedlin at Tottenham and Brad Friedel. He's coached Espanyol for 3, Southampton for a year where he finished 8th, Tottenham for 5 when he finished 2nd in the Prem twice and Champions League runner-up, and won a couple cups at PSG before finishing at Chelsea.
So I'm going to pause the music because, you know what? It can just replay. I don't even care. This is the best hiring in the history of U.S. soccer. And it's even bigger. I'm going to stop the music. And it's even bigger than when the U.S. women hired their current coach, because they have won. Okay. The last time the U.S. hired a coach, an international coach, was Jurgen Klinsmann. And say what you want about Jurgen Klinsmann. When we hired him, he elevated U.S. soccer from here to a level that we have not come back down to. Greg Berhalter did take a couple steps back, but where Jurgen Klinsmann put us as a country for soccer, we have never gone back from the leap that he made, getting our international players here to play for us and getting guys who have U.S. citizenship or of U.S. citizenship available to them to come over and play for us. And I know a lot of people like to throw in we have enough people in this country, we should be able to have the best soccer players. Yes, I understand that. However, we have had guys who now run our national team and some of the best players in our national team who were not born here and have lived overseas. I want to win. Get these players here. Now, that was the European approach that Jurgen Klinsmann took. However, Jurgen Klinsmann was limited as a coach. Excuse me. No disrespect to Jurgen Klinsmann. Mauricio Pochettino is a good coach. He's a great coach. Okay. He is wanted by top teams everywhere in Europe. He had some issues recently at PSG and Chelsea. However, everyone has had recent issues at Chelsea as a coach. And PSG has such unreasonable expectations for what they actually put on the field. It wasn't fair to him there either. This is the best thing that has ever happened to U.S. soccer, because Mauricio Pochettino is going to get these guys in there. He's going to hold them accountable. He's going to make them press. He's going to make them defend. And he's going to hold, like I said, hold guys accountable. The mainstays that have been on this roster, if they do not show up to their friendlies and they do not compete and they do not put up and they do not play well, they are not going to play. That stuff is gone.
I absolutely agree. I think the main thing I'm taking from this as that as a national team, especially under Greg Berhalter, we've noted this. they tend to come out slow in windows. They tend to come out lethargic, not as motivated. The exact opposite is talked about Mauricio Pochettino teams. Mauricio Pochettino teams are known to have brutal fitness expectations on them, and because they are taught that you have to play the entire 90 minutes exactly how you need to play every single game. And so I think that standard of, oh, we're going to come out slow, but the second and third games we're going to be okay, I think that's gone. I think you are going to set a standard that you are going to come out from minute one playing your tails off. Now, where fitness comes into that, with some recent struggles that we've had in our national team with fitness, we're going to see how that comes on later on down the line, because, with Gio Reyna and Christian Pulisic and Tyler Adams, Serginho Dest, having that kind of fitness put on you during an international break, we'll see what kind of an impact that's the only kind of negative that could potentially pop up. But in terms of everything else, you are elevating your coach in terms of style and play, but you're also coming up in terms of experience in big games and just overall mentality as a program, because Greg's mentality was, we are not going to be what we were when we missed the World Cup, which in the first year or two was good, but now the expectations have changed, but Greg's expectations didn't. Now you are bringing in a coach who is matching or even exceeding your own expectations as a federation, and that is what you need with these guys, because there was definitely a sort of complacency later on at the Greg Berhalter stint, especially in his second stint as a coach. And so I think this is a great move by the U.S. Federation. I wish it had come earlier. I wish it had come maybe during. It kind of. I don't think it would have been able to happen with these Pochettino because he was still in line with Chelsea. But I'm glad this was finally done. Maybe a little later than we all have wanted, but at least it was done, and you have at least 2 years to prep for this.
Greg Berhalter comes in with a philosophy of, let's try and win, let's try and qualify, let's try and get out of the group stage. Mauricio Pochettino is going to come in. Obviously, we don't need to qualify, but he's going to come in and say, we are going to win games, we are going to get out of the group stage, and we are going to make a run. That is the difference. That top level mindset, a man who has coached in Champions League final, has coached in the toughest leagues in England. There's nothing but promise here. Like this, there's I can't find negatives in this. And the negative that you brought up, oh, he wants guys at a fitness level and a pressing level. Well, it's going to weed out the weak. That's what it's going to do. It's going to weed out those players that cannot keep their fitness level at a top level. The other thing is, and this is something that we know is going to happen, and this is for you, Matt Turner, Gio Reyna, Serginho Dest, Ricardo Pepi. He wants guys who are playing significant minutes at their clubs. So if you are not playing significant minutes, get your ass on that transfer list, get yourself on that loan list, and get yourself to a place where you are playing regular football, or you ain't going to touch it for us.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think, obviously, we're excited and we want this, but I really just want to see. The issue is, I want the window to come up now. I want us to start playing games. I want to see what this looks like, because I'm not worried. Like, so when Greg was here, we were worried about rosters, because we knew that Greg would sometimes want certain guys and things like that. You're kind of in a reboot now where rosters aren't going to matter a lot. He's going to want different kinds of people. He's going to want to check out basically
Yes, everybody's going to get a run again.
And so I'm not worried about that. I want to see how he puts out teams, because I will say there was a struggle at Chelsea to sometimes break down teams, but that's also been a Chelsea thing forever. And so I'm not really worried about that. I want to see how he faces against the Costa Ricas, those kind of games. But then I also want to see how he goes against top competition, which we would have to schedule friendlies for that, obviously, because there is no real competition coming up. I have the men's national team upcoming stuff coming on now. We have Panama and Mexico in October. And so two of probably, other than Canada, your top 4 or 5 teams in CONCACAF you are playing in an international friendlies. Let's go. Let's see how this team, adapts to this system quickly or not.
My last thought is I've never been more excited to be able to watch United States men's national team training sessions.
Right. Oh, dude,
If
you watch the U.S., go back and watch Tottenham sessions. Early on in Pochettino's stint, players are puking, laying on the ground, and this is in preseason because in his mind, if you are not in peak physical condition from game one, you are not taking this seriously enough, and that's exactly the mentality that we need to have going into these friendlies. It's not going to be like that. You're not going to have Serginho Dest puking on the sideline, but you are going to be intense from minute one of that practice, and it's going to get these guys better than, honestly, they probably could get at some of their clubs if some of these MLS guys are coming up.
And he's also not going to hold it back in the press. He's going to let guys know when they're not playing well, and he's going to call them out, which is the best part there. So, all right, that's the way to end it. That's the way to end that soccer segment. We've been waiting to give our thoughts before he officially put his name on, for when he officially put his name on the line, and he did this week. So we finally had our chance to talk about it. So that'll do it for Americans abroad. And of course, as you know, then that will do it for the rest of the show. Thank you again, everybody, for rocking with us this week, whether you are watching, listening, commenting with us live here on Facebook, where you can like and follow us, or on YouTube, where you can like and subscribe, become one of our 5,000 strong, or you can catch us on Spotify later on when I finally upload them. I think I'm about 2 behind. I apologize if you are catching up on Spotify, but I will get that updated this weekend. But thank you again for joining us here on the 216 Sports Network. Like I said, like and follow on Facebook, like and subscribe on YouTube. You can find all of us, 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth, The Jay Rich Show, The Ruler's Minute with Rico McGee, Outside Interference, and The Straub Sports Show. Where can you find The Straub Sports Show? Anywhere and everywhere. You can find us on X at Straub Sports, TikTok at the SBSS, on Instagram at Straub Sports Show, and on Spotify, as I just mentioned, at the Straub Sports Show. Big shout out to Austin. Make sure you follow them on Instagram just like you follow us. CYOW, Create Your Own Wave 2021. CYOW Apparel. Yes. CYOW apparel.myshopify.com. Big shout out to the Rapids. They kick off their lifting sessions this weekend. We will start showing up. We will start being there. We're going to start doing some footage, start doing some coverage, start doing some interviews with the coaches. Make sure you look out on all social medias from that. You'll be seeing that all over our Facebook page. Our Instagram will be heavy on that and all of the stuff there. Make sure you follow Falls Rapids on Instagram and Facebook page too, so you can find our stuff there. Drew, final shout outs.
Yeah, thank you everyone for watching, listening, however you digest us two guys talking sports. Just some small updates because we did miss it during the Guardian segment. Alex Cobb has been put on the 15-day injured list for a bruised finger. This man just can never stay healthy. And we did promote Andrew Walters from Columbus. This is his major league debut, and so we will see when he gets a turn. Also, for those fantasy owners out there, I have news. Devon Atchain is active for tonight, so keep him in your lineup. He may be on snap restrictions. We don't know, but he is a big talent. I think he's going to get some touches. So personally, I'm going to keep him in my lineup. So there you go.
There you go. Snap restrictions, not touchdown restrictions. That's what I'm talking about because he's in my touchdown parlay. So, all right, that'll do it for us. Thank you once again. Absolutely, yeah. Ray giving the woo out for that because I know he's got him in the lineup. Thank you, Ray. Big shout out to you for being with us. Thank you, Mom and Pops, for being with us too. Thank you, everybody, and we appreciate it. And as always, please remember to love yours.
Yeah.